Good morning and welcome to week 7, the second set of notes. Again, I can promise that this set of notes is going to be a lot shorter than yesterday's or the previous days, the first set of notes for this week. Those notes, unfortunately, just was a ton of vocabulary, and that is just how they introduce the vocabulary in this section. And so it just took a little bit. This set of notes is going to be a lot of constructions. So you do need to have a compass and a straight edge. We're going to kind of do a little bit of review. And then you're also going to learn some new things about how to bisect an angle and how to inscribe a polygon. So these are notes. For Module 1, Topic 2, Lesson 3. Okay, so we're going to start off by duplicating an angle. We've already done this. It says that we're going to need patty paper to verify it, but we're just going to go through and remind ourselves on how to do this. So again, they seem to always give us really small angles to work with in this book. So I like kind of extending out my sides of my angles. You don't have to. But with the board and trying to do it with the compass on the board, it just seems to work a little better if I extend out the sides of the angle. So you can use your straight edge and just kind of extend them out a little bit. And the first thing you need to do when you duplicate an angle, if you don't remember, is you need to just get a starting point. So I'm just going to draw a line here, and we are duplicating angle B. So I am going to call this B prime, so I'll put a little dot right here for the vertex, but I'm just going to call it B prime because we're going to be duplicating angle B. Then you need to grab your compass, and you need to put the pointy end right on point B, and you need to stretch it out far enough to where you can get an arc that goes through both sides. Okay, you don't want it so close that it's hard for you to use the compass, but you also don't want it so big that it goes off to where it doesn't go through both sides. So we need to go through both sides of B, of angle B, of the original angle B. And then without moving anything on the compass, we're just going to pick it up, put the pointy end on B prime, and construct our angle there. So we're just going to do our new arc. Same distance away from B prime as it is the distance from B on the original angle. Now, this is where things get a little tricky with the compass. You have to measure out the distance from one side of the original angle to the other side of the original angle. And so, however you can work your compass so that you can get it to where it matches up. That looks about right there. I can't get it really any closer. What I like to do is kind of sometimes draw a secondary arc. Looks like I'm a little off. Let's see if I can get just a little. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Come back to me. There we go. Flip sides on me. So I'm going to come in here like this, and I'm going to see if I can get it to where it's just a little bit closer. I don't know if I will be able to. Again, the board one is a little bit tough to get it exactly perfect just because of how the program works. I think that's about the best I'm going to get. I don't think I'm going to get any better on that one. All right, so you can see where my arc kind of doesn't go through. Hopefully yours does a little bit better. Now, without squishing or spreading out your compass at all, you're going to put your pointy end where your duplicate arc meets the duplicate side of angle B. And the best that I can get it on there. And then you're going to draw your arc right there. Now, let me move that out of the way. And I'm going to come back here and put a little point right there where that intersects. And then I'm going to take my ruler or my straight edge, and I'm going to go from my vertex B prime through that point, and I have just duplicated angle. Okay. All right. So we're going to practice that. Let me move my compass down here. As I move down the page. All right, it's asked us to construct an angle that's twice the measure, but we're just going to practice doing a duplicate angle. Okay, so we're just going to practice this one more time. So we're going to construct an angle, a duplicate angle. We're not going to get into doing it that's twice. So if you want, you're more than welcome to kind of scratch that part out, because we're not going to do this. All we're going to do is make another duplicate angle. And we're going to kind of do it the way to be able to do parallel lines. So back in the first lesson, we kind of talked about how you can duplicate an angle and make parallel lines. So how you do that is you work off of this original angle by extending out one of its sides. So I'm going to just work off of A here, and I'm going to extend out the side. There we go. Okay. But instead of making a whole brand new side, I am going to pick this point right here, and it doesn't have to be exactly right there, and I'm going to make that my A prime. So I'm now going to make a duplicate angle off of the same side of my original angle, just extended out. So now I need to put my pointy part on there, okay, and bring it in a little bit. And again, now I just need to make an arc that goes through both parts of my original angle. So I'm just going to make an arc that goes through here. Okay, without extending or squishing my compass at all, I'm going to bring it down here, put my pointy part on A prime, and I'm going to make my arc through here. Okay. Now again, I have to measure out the distance between the two sides of my original angle. Let's see if I can get it. This one might work a little bit better, it looks like. Nope, not quite. All right, hopefully yours looks a little bit better than mine. Again, just the thing. So without, again, moving, squishing, so I've measured out the distance between the two parts. I'm now going to come down here, and I'm going to make my new arc on this one. Get rid of my compass. Now I'm going to put a little point right there, and then I am going to draw a line with my straight edge from A prime through that point. And I, to the best of my ability, have duplicated the angle. Because I have made the one side extended from the original through my duplicate angle, I know that this angle here go. I know this angle here is the same measure as this angle here, which means this line here is parallel to that line there. So in a process of duplicating an angle, I have also made parallel lines. So that's a little review back in topic 1 of stuff that we did. We duplicated angles and made parallel lines. All right, so now we are going to go to page 149. Okay, and we're going to construct an inscribed hexagon. So an inscribed polygon, we're going to do specifically a hexagon, but an inscribed polygon is a polygon that's drawn inside another polygon or a circle, specifically in this case in a circle, in which all the vertices of the interior polygon lie on the outer figure. Okay, now you can inscribe any shape, okay, and usually the easier ones to do are the regular type. And a regular type of polygon, in this case hexagon, means that it has congruent sides all sides and angles and congruent angles are congruent. So like a regular quadrilateral we call a square, a regular hexagon. A regular triangle we call an equilateral triangle because all the sides and all the angles. Okay, so what we're going to end up doing is we're going to do a hexagon because it's the easiest of them. You can also do a square. There are lots of videos online about how to do inscribed polygons, and there's all sorts of fun things that you can do with compasses to be able to do this. But we're just going to go through on how to do a hexagon. Okay, all right, so for this we're going to do some constructions. So you need to get a compass, okay? And you have to measure out the distance of the radius of the circle. So in this case we need to measure out the distance from the center to the circle itself. Okay, and mine may be a little bit off again, just trying to work with what I have. Okay, so you have to measure off that distance. Okay, then you're going to mark it. So you're just going to draw a little let me do it this way. Okay, you're going to draw a little dot. I'm going to try and draw it with my compass, but it's not going to work. So you're just going to draw a little dot where that distance is, where you start off. I just went basically straight west, or straight east, I mean, but you can do it anywhere on the thing. Okay, all right. Now, the key thing with this is you do not change, squish, or pull out the compass. So all you do now, okay, is move the compass. I'm actually going to flip-flop it around because it's going to work easier this way for me, to where the pointy end is where that dot is. Okay, so you're going to do the pointy end there. Now, all you want to do is make little marks on the circle itself. So I am just going to make an arc right here. Now keep in mind, this is the distance of the radius. Now I'm going to pick up my compass, put my pointy end where that mark is. I'm going to make a little arc. And then I'm going to pick up my compass. And I am going to make another little arc right there. So all I'm doing is just measuring around. Of course. Okay. So all I'm doing is just measuring around where the distance from the radius okay, and I need to do one more. I got to get my compass. This big old compass. Pointy end right there. Okay, and then there we go. Okay, so it looks like that. Now, what you want to do is you just want to, just to make it a little bit easier on yourself, make some little dots where all those arcs intercepted. Okay, and you are going to then connect those dots. So I'm going to connect this dot to this dot, 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 and last but not least, this dot to this dot. Now, it's not going to be exactly perfect because A, you're human, you move things around and that sort of thing. Also, technically, okay, the distance of the radius, distance around, is actually 6.28. So it's a little bit more than 6 sides, so it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be very close. Okay, so that's how you inscribe what is considered a regular hexagon. Okay, so the other thing is that with the inscribing of the hexagon, you can also very easily make a, and I'm going to use a little different color here. Let's see, let's just go with red. All right, if I wanted to make an equilateral triangle, instead of doing connecting every single dot, all you have to do, there's 6 sides on a hexagon. Triangle is 3, so you just connect every other one. And you've actually made an inscribed equilateral triangle. So again, remember, regular hexagon means that all the sides are equal, and it's not going to be exactly perfect. If you measure, they're going to be a little bit off. Equilateral triangle means that all the sides are equal, and all the angles, but we're not going to get into measuring. So that's how you can construct an inscribed polygon. So an inscribed polygon basically means that it's inside either another shape or a circle. Okay. All right, last but not least to this one, we are going to move on to page 154. So the back side of 153, and we're going to get into how to bisect an angle. Okay, bisecting an angle starts off very much, there's a worked example you can sit here and do, all right? So, read and that sort of thing. All right, so all we're going to do is construct an angle bisector. Again, bisector, remember, means cuts in half or cuts into 2 equal parts. Okay, so if you do one bisector, you cut it in half. If you do a second bisector, then you cut it into fourths. And of course, if you keep continuing, you can cut it into eighths, into sixteenths, and so on and so forth. So to do this, we need to get a compass again. Let me bring it down to where my thing. And all you do is you just have to start off by drawing an arc. All right, an arc that goes through both sides of the angle. So we just need to spread this out. Excuse me. And construct an arc. Sorry about that, I just had a coughing fit. All right, back to where we were at. So what you do is you construct an arc that goes through both sides. Then you need to, if it helps, you can sit there and put little dots where they intersect. You don't have to, but it might help. You need to put the pointy end on one of those dots, and you need to make sure that your compass is big enough that it is over at least half of the angle. And if you look and see, if I take mine out here, obviously I'm way over half. If I brought it in here like this, I'm under half, because bisecting means that I have to cut it in half. So I need to make sure that I am out far enough to where I will then sit there and cut the angle in half. And now I just need to make an arc out here. And then without stretching or pushing the compass at all, I need to bring it up and put it on this other dot. And I need to make another arc that intersects the first one out there. Pull my compass to the side, and I can make a little dot where those two intersect, and then I can connect it with a line through, from the vertex through that, and I have just constructed an angle bisector, basically stating this part of the angle is congruent to this part of the angle over here. So the first thing you do is you just make an arc that goes through both sides. Then you put the pointy end on where that arc intersects the angle. and make two arcs on the outside, almost like a perpendicular bisector. You're basically bisecting an angle instead of a line, so it's very similar to the perpendicular bisector, just has to be equal distance. And then you make your arcs out there, and then where they intersect, that's where it bisects. Okay? All right, so the last thing they ask us to do real quick here is they ask us to create an angle that's 1/4. So basically it's a bisector of a bisector. Okay? All right, so we're just going to put my pointy end on H here. Point H, I'm going to bring this in just a tad, and I have to make my arc that goes through both sides. Okay, so I first have to bisect the angle to do a bisector of the bisector. So then I'm going to make my little points here. I'm going to bring my compass over. I have to make sure that I'm out far enough to where I will actually bisect the angle to begin with, and I am. All right, so now I am going to draw an arc out here. Okay. And I am going to bring my pointy end over to this one. Swing my compass around so that they intersect. And then I'm going to move this over, and I'm going to connect the vertex to where they intersect. Now what I did is I just bisected the angle. Now I have to do a bisector of the bisector because I'm trying to make one that's 1/4. So this angle here now is 1/2 of the original. So this is 1/2 right here. Okay, and what I want to do is make one that's 1/4. So I need to cut that one in half. Okay, well, I actually already have an arc right here that I can use. So I can still use this point right here, and now I can use this point right here. So I just need to come out here. There we go. Come out here, make my little arcs out here. Flip-flop this one around like that. Bring it back up. Oh, maybe this is going to work better this way. Again, your compasses work a lot better than this. Okay, and I'm going to bring this down around here, and I am going to intersect out here. Move my compass, and I'm going to pick a new color, blue, and now I'm going to intersect A with where they go right there, and now I've cut that half into 1/4 of the original. Okay. All right, so that's tonight's homework. You're just going to be constructing duplicate angles, you're going to be constructing angle bisectors, and you're going to construct, I think, both an inscribed hexagon and an inscribed equilateral triangle, I believe. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that's what you're going to be doing. Okay. All right. Thank you.